My name is Brett Hauser. I am president of Greenlots and vice chair of the group Open Charge Alliance.
I asked Brett a question that had been percolating among conference goers, that being, what's it going to take to get 1 million EVs on the road by 2017?
But I guess two data points that are of interest. And one is that if you look at the compounded annual growth rate of EVs in basically their third year of growth relative to the traditional hybrid, which is odd to call it a traditional hybrid, but conventional hybrid, it's actually outpacing what the hybrid did in its third year, and it now makes up, I believe, about 8% of all of total sales of vehicles, the conventional hybrid. So electric vehicles are trending higher than that. The second thing is, we're at about 1% of total consumption, and in some ways that actually means we're halfway to where we need to be. To go from 0 to 1% takes 7 doublings of numbers, and so we've achieved that. Now to go from 1% to 100%, that too only takes 7 doublings of the number to get to 100% adoption. So no, we don't really believe that there's going to be 100% adoption of EVs, but it just shows that if we're able to keep the pace, even at 36% compounded annual growth rate through 2017, we're going to be more than surpass the 1 million EVs on the road.
We went on to discuss the factors that might be holding back this progress.
Sure. No, good question. I mean, one is obviously the cost of the batteries. Right now batteries are anywhere from, say, $500 to over $750 per kilowatt hour. You're going to have to bring that number down. Most analysts think it has to be down around the $150 per kilowatt hour range, for it to be a viable solution where both the automotives can make money and consumers can get a price point that they want. So we're bringing that price point down and increasing the range of those vehicles. And if it means just adding more batteries to the stack, well, then that's okay if it's going to get where it needs to be. So battery price is one. The other is access to infrastructure. So far there's been a lot of, and the government spent a lot of money putting level 2 charge stations out in the public domain, which is good to an extent for range anxiety, but the reality is that over 85% of charging takes place at home. And so we've got to make sure that the people that are thinking about buying an electric vehicle or have an electric vehicle have access as the residents to charging, and that's not only single family but multi-unit dwellings. And so there's various ways to achieve that. One thing that I think we should be exploring is actually giving utilities the ability to own and lease the charging stations to residential consumers for a monthly fee, just like you would a cable bill and a cable box. The utility could absorb the cost of the installation and then just pay you a recurring, and then you, the consumer, would pay a monthly recurring fee for the charge station as well as for the energy. And that would probably be a lot more manageable for the majority of Americans who don't have the $900 to put out for a charge station and then another $1,500 for the installation.
That makes a lot of sense to me, but one of the advantages or one of the benefits to owning your own infrastructure, I guess, is that you can charge in the middle of the night when rates are a little bit cheaper. But of course, if this adoption really goes up, we get 2%, 3%, 4% of people out there with electric cars. Middle of the night suddenly is going to be as high a demand as middle of the day in terms of people wanting to charge these vehicles. I mean, is that accurate? And how does this start to affect that benefit that we used to have in terms of time of use?
That's actually a very good question. Rate programs are tough to get through regulators. Once they get through they should stick for a while. But yes, the point is a valid one. If you've got everyone waiting to charge their vehicle, when the time of use rate comes on, you're going to have a second peak period. So by actually allowing the utility to own the charging station and lease it to you, and giving them some control over when you charge your vehicle, they can actually smooth out those peaks and either defer or altogether avoid having to spend a lot of money on infrastructure upgrades. A driver would say, look, Monday through Friday I have to have my battery state of charge be at 100% by 7 a.m. as a standard. And so the utility, they come home, whether they plug in at 5, 6, or 7, utility knows where they have to be, and from that period until 7 a.m. they know they've got that amount of time to get them to where they need to be. So in those cases, the time of use rates would be, irrelevant, because it would be the utility who would be controlling when they got their charge, as long as they had it when they needed it.
In Greenlots, can you speak to a little bit about how things are going and the role that you're playing in terms of this whole progression?
Sure, absolutely. Things are going great at Greenlots. One of the things that we've been doing with our platform, we're now Open ADR 2.0B certified, which what that means is that we can handle the open standard signals for demand response, load control, load throttling. So when we talk about examples of being able to control, throttle back and control when someone charges the vehicle for how long, our system now is able to do that, and based on the whole entire value proposition of our system using open standards, which is really important because we don't want anyone to get locked into anything that's proprietary. So following along the path with open standards, allowing utilities, giving them the tools that they need to be able to control charging when they need to, and yet making sure that the customer has what they need when they need to go where they need to get to.